Well, hello everyone. It is October 7th, and a week from today, Microsoft will be declaring officially Windows 10 to be end of life. There are some red flags that we need to talk about, and this is what this presentation is about today. And I'm going to dive in right now. A lot of questions came in the last few weeks about Windows 10 being end of life, Windows 10 security updates, what Windows 10 Pro support end date is, Windows 10 risks once it is end of life. We got a lot of tickets about that, a lot of people asking, even though we send newsletters, but sometimes people don't read those. So let's talk about Windows 10 end of life real quick. And if you have any questions, the last few slides will give you some options. And we do have a couple of very good offers that not to sell you anything, but to allow you to take advantage of some security audits that we do for free. So stick with us and take advantage of those if you are interested, of course. Let's dive in. I'm going to remove my beautiful face from slide over here. And we are going to be talking about Windows 10, as I said, and end of life as of October 14th, which is a week from today. End of life is basically end of security updates. At that date, Windows 10 will no longer receive security updates or patches or bug fixes. We're going to talk about very soon why that matters. There is Extended Security Update Program, or ESU, that provides some limited updates from Microsoft through the Microsoft Volume Licensing. It's starting at $61 per device per year. Not something we recommend. It's really not worth it in most cases because it's very limited amount of updates and doesn't really resolve the main problems that we want to avoid over here in terms of Windows 10 end of life cybersecurity risks. We're going to talk about migration to Windows 11 as one of the options, obviously, that pretty much almost everybody chose to go with. So let's talk about what happens when an operating system reaches end of life. So first of all, we're not going to get any more updates, no more security patches, bug fixes, and feature updates. Developers are not going to be working on those anymore. We're going to, because of that, have some increase in vulnerability. Without those updates, as you can imagine, there's going to be more vulnerabilities open, more backdoors that usually will be shut down by Microsoft by providing patches and updates, but those are not going to exist anymore. And there's going to also be compatibility issues, most likely. Older operating system versions, they do face compatibility problems with new software. Think about it, if you are a software creator and you created a new billing software, for example, or whatever it is, and you started working on it today, and you will launch it in a month, hypothetically. Will you spend the time creating the software to be compatible with Windows 10, which doesn't exist anymore officially and is not sold anymore? Or would you just create that software or any updates for existing software to focus on Windows 11 and the functionality that Windows 11 can bring to the table? There's going to be discontinued support. If you do call tech support, obviously out of end of life software is not going to get tech support in most cases. So why do they retire products? People think that it's just about the money, but there's actually some valid reasons. First of all, on the security standpoint, the older the code is, the more it becomes exploitable. Think about a house that you build the foundations and you put in the pipes in the ground, etc. And over the last 5 years, over the next 5 years, you will restructure the bathrooms, you will restructure the wiring, and everything is going to be moved. You're going to move rooms around, etc. And at a certain point, you broke the floor so many times and broke the ceiling and the roof and whatever so many times, it's going to be way less reliable at that point. That's the same thing with old code. There's a certain amount of fixes and updates that they want to do to that. There's going to be compatibility reasons why vendors will retire a product. New hardware pops up and there's new requirements for some security that might be very complicated for the manufacturer, for the software creator to go backwards and have backwards compatibility. For example, with Windows 11, there's basically 100% support and requirement for a TPM module, which is basically the encryption portion of the operating system. Windows 10 had to be redesigned for most of that part. As far as the cost, there's obviously a lot of cost involved in maintaining old software and old code and set up new features to it, etc. So the cost is an issue as well, of course. Innovation is another reason. They want to shift resources to the new technology. And by putting something in end of life, they basically ensure that there's focus on the security and the supported software. Why do hackers target end-of-life systems? First of all, because of the unpatched vulnerabilities. It's those backdoors we're talking about every time we talk about why it's important to update systems. There is the outdated security software. So legacy systems will usually have outdated antivirus and firewalls on them. It will be another weak spot and weakest link in the chain. There is the legacy system constraints. You know, the businesses will keep those systems because of old software that they won't be able to run on Windows 11, for example, and because they don't want to spend the money. And hackers know that, and they will target, usually actually the bigger companies will be the last ones, even though they usually have the most amount of money to spend, but it's a very big items on their P&L report that they probably don't want to spend if they don't have to. So lately, in the last few years, those companies, enterprises do understand the importance of it. And that's why it's important for you to have those plans with your IT provider way ahead of time. If you waited till now to think about it, you're way late for the game. And now cost of computers will skyrocket this week and next week, I think, from what I've seen in the past, because everybody will wait for the last minute to buy a new computer with Windows 11 on it. There is lack of modern protection. End-of-life systems will usually lack those security features like secure boot and drive encryptions, etc. So hackers will know that and will use it to target. So looking at some of the popular end-of-life operating system hacks that happened, there is what used to be called WannaCry ransomware. There were 200,000 machines were affected. Hundreds of millions of dollars in damages. It was just ridiculous what happened over there, and kind of sad. There is also the configure worm that surfaced around early 2000, if I remember correctly, and stayed up until today. There's people that unfortunately still get infected by it. Remember the Adobe Flash that got exploited also through that. Now, detecting if you're affected, the first thing you want to do is you want to run a command. You click on start and type command, and then or click on start and type WinVer. That's shortcut for Windows version. And you can also go to About This PC. When you click on start and search for the About This PC, it will tell you the operating system you have. If you're using Intune or an RMM tool for your business, you obviously know how to do it from there. I hope so. If you have an RMM tool and you don't know how to use it to tell the operating system version, then you probably should switch RMM software or an IT person. Make sure you check the TPM, make sure it's a 2.0 and secured boot is enabled in the BIOS and nothing changes. You can still load your Windows. You can and should verify that all the applications that you use are compatible with Windows 11. It is still doable to upgrade Windows 10 to Windows 11 for free, but you don't want to do that, obviously, if you are not sure that your software that you use is going to be 100% compatible. Few examples is QuickBooks and old versions of Adobe. If you don't have the subscription, you have an old version. There are quite a few other programs that we found over the last few months when we upgraded our clients, that our clients had to upgrade the software itself before they upgraded Windows 11 because we found that they're not compatible with Windows 11, even if the hardware and the computer itself are compatible. Hardware readiness, let's talk about that while we're at it. So the minimum specs for Windows 11. You need to have the TPM module. It's a little chip on the computer motherboard. You should be able to tell if it's there or not by checking the version of your motherboard, the model number. You need to have secure boot, at least 4 gigabytes of memory. My recommendation is 8 minimum, but 16 realistically to be the minimum for Windows 11. You want to have minimum 64 gigabytes of storage to operate correctly and live a little bit without having to upgrade. The processors, most processors are Intel these days, so Intel 8th generation or newer. And as far as the tools, you can run PC health check. You can run a PowerShell command get-tpm, the command line system or system info or sysinfo 32. It's not listed here, but it's another one. It will tell you the hardware that you have on your computer. What can you do about Windows 10 being end of life? First of all, you can and should upgrade to Windows 11 as soon as possible. Obviously, that's if your hardware supports it and all your software is compatible with that. You can also replace the computer, obviously, if your hardware is too old, or if it's over 4 years old, a desktop and a laptop over 4 years old is usually recommended to replace. The speed and reliability you're going to get from a brand new computer compared to a 4-year-old computer is very high. Efficiency is going to skyrocket, and that's going to pay for itself within the first year usually. So if you're struggling upgrading to Windows 11, upgrade your whole computer, and you can and will get it with Windows 11 already. Make sure that you verify that it's Windows 11 Pro or Home, depends on what your needs are. That's a whole different webinar. You want to consider moving to the cloud, not for everybody, of course, but there are solutions from Microsoft, for example, virtual desktop like Windows 365. Another thing that, and you can basically rent a virtual Windows 11 computer on the cloud, on the Microsoft cloud, as part of your Microsoft 365. It's like 30 or 40 or 50 bucks a month per computer. You get all the needed bells and whistles with it, and you don't have to buy a new physical piece of hardware. However, you can also move to a cloud server, a terminal server environment. And then what a lot of people choose to do is take their old physical computers. You don't want to keep them running Windows 10. So what most of our clients sometimes choose to do when they do go to the cloud is to keep the physical old hardware and reinstall the operating system. But instead of installing Windows, you can install a Linux or any other free operating system that is compatible with that hardware. And those are free operating systems, very secure, require very little maintenance, and just another solution out there. And of course, hybrid approach for gradual migration, it's another option, but point is, do something. We want to show you what is it that you need to prepare for and how that usually works. So first of all, you want a budget plan. You want to assess the cost and make sure that you understand the cost of updating your hardware if needed. Obviously, we said the software, labor, cost, etc. If you have to upgrade your QuickBooks 2015, if that's what you still run, from Windows 11, from Windows 10 to 11, QuickBooks will have to be upgraded also. Keep that in mind. Many other examples like that. Downtime and data transfer, you want to plan for that. This is something that will happen. It's not going to be as complicated usually, but depends on the size of your business and how much downtime you are allowed and can afford to have. Check the software. Sometimes software will be completely different. If you're moving from, let's say, an accounting software or a CRM software that was built 10 years ago, still works fine on Windows 10, the new version is going to be required for Windows 11, but the new interface of that CRM software or billing software or whatever might be completely different. So we want to make sure that you're testing it and you are aware of the limitations of the new software and the layout, etc. Some people will be annoyed with that to the point that they might not even use it. So that is the software compatibility testing. And then we want to make sure that the user experience and the interface are familiarized for your team, because there are some differences. There is a way to make it look like Windows 10 a lot, but move on, suck it up, have your users get used to the new stuff, because what happens if they're going to be making any changes to the computer and Microsoft is going to push an update maybe that will get rid of that customization you did by mistake, or the user has to jump on a new computer temporarily because theirs is frozen, broken, whatever. Now they won't know how to work with it because it's not customized to their look and feel. So my advice is to always adapt to what's coming up for the next few years. We want to make sure you do backup and testing, obviously. So always perform a full backup of your hard drive before you do an operating system upgrade. You can use programs like Macrium or Acronis. There's free trials that you might be able to use with those as well. You want to verify the restoration process, because we always tell our clients and everybody else, backup is one thing, recovery can be completely different. The fact that your backup program shows that it completed successfully does not mean that it actually is going to be doable to restore that backup. So always test the backup software before you consider it working 100% and dependable. So next thing, we're going to test all the critical applications. As I said, QuickBooks, Adobe, or EHR, or DMS, or whatnot. You want to check the driver compatibility for your printers and scanners. There's a lot of devices that are old that you might have that might not be able to work anymore with Windows 11 because of old drivers that your operating system won't support anymore. Keep in mind another little note here, that a lot of printers will probably not, old printers might not work with Windows 11, but if you go to the manufacturer website of the printer and find and install the latest firmware of that printer or scanner or any other peripheral, you might make it compatible with Windows 11. So keep that in mind as well. Next, we're going to talk about the network and the security prep. First of all, you want to make sure that you have the most up-to-date antivirus and EDR that Windows 11 does support. We've had a couple of incidents when we took over a network for a new customer. We started working on the preparation for the upgrade, and we found that the antivirus software that they have will not work on Windows 11, and we cannot afford having that, obviously, without it. So those are two things that you need to look at: the antivirus/EDR, and you want to make sure that you review the firewall and VPN configurations. We did run into some cases where there were old firewalls in the office, and the VPN, virtual private network connection, that those employees are using in order to connect remotely from home to the office, those firewalls were so out of date that the VPN software that they used is not compatible with Windows 11, which is really rare, but it happens. So you want to check that as well, a little check mark for your checklist. And update any group policy templates. If you do have group policies from your domain controller, then your IT person or you should be able to go over those and make sure that those templates are compatible. Some of them won't be. You want to validate your Microsoft 365, OneDrive, and the backup agents, that they're all up to date and working. A lot of times people don't take advantage of their OneDrive backup features, for example, which will be very handy if you configure a new computer or recreate a new profile on your system. All of your data from your documents folder, your desktop folder, even your downloads folder, and anything else that you set up to back up with OneDrive will be on the cloud, ready for you on the new computer or the new profile. So take advantage of that, validate that it's working correctly. Example of migration plan. So the step is hardware audit on week 1. The MSP is responsible of that. Data backup on week 2, and so on. You can download this presentation, of course, or pause this video and go over that. I don't want to read that to you. It's boring. You want to take advantage of some of the Windows 11 benefits. The modern user interface might be an issue for some people, but it's really actually cool and sleek. The security portion is a huge upgrade that you want to consider over here. Performance, definitely performance enhancements on Windows 11 compared to Windows 10, especially because it's going to be a fresh installation of the operating system. Maybe even a new computer, you'll see definitely benefits to that. You're going to have some advanced Windows management for better multitasking, organizing app layouts, etc. You know how you organize your windows on a big screen. A quarter of the window takes that area, the other quarter takes another window. You can actually save those and restore them very easily. With a click of a button, you open 4 programs organized on the screen. Very cool. Very well organized integration with Android app. There's also the iOS app for the Windows for the Windows and phone communication. You can send text messages from your Windows app through it. Very convenient as well. If you're gaming, some benefits there. AI-powered feature Copilot is a huge thing with Windows 11. Definitely want to take advantage of that. Teams integration natively on Windows 11, another reason. So people will upgrade also from Windows 10 Home to 11 Pro instead of Home, because it will give you some extra features. For example, BitLocker. That's a drive encryption feature that doesn't cost anything once you have the Pro version on Windows 10 or 11. You will also be able to join a domain. So if you don't have a need for that right now, that's not a worry. But if you think of using the Microsoft Azure Active Directory or Microsoft Intune, you need to be able to run Windows 11 Pro to join domain or the cloud the way it should be. And that will give you some endpoint management from a central location from a management standpoint and security standpoint. The communication strategy is also important to consider over here, because not just installing a Windows update or upgrading the operating system is needed, but also you want to notify your users why you're doing it. So you want to make sure there's a buy-in so people don't just fight and think that you're annoying. This is a tip for mostly IT companies that might not have a lot of experience with that, of migration of operating system on new versions. You want to share the quick start PDF or short videos to show people, get them excited about the new features. Maybe set up a cloud workstation with Windows 11 to let them play with that, log in remotely to see how that looks like. If it's an older community of users maybe, or a couple of older people that are not happy with changes and not susceptible to change like that, let them play with that a little bit. Get a laptop, install Windows 11 on it, and let them play with that one lunch and see that it's not so bad. Make sure you collect feedback from your users so you can address any issues that they gave you to avoid those surprises. Now, I want to explain to you that 60% of ransomware uses those unknown, unpatched vulnerabilities. This is billions of dollars worth of damages, and there is going to be tons of examples. We have one accounting firm that we took over after they lost 2 weeks of data and 2 weeks of actual work. They couldn't do anything until they brought us over. The data was lost, unfortunately. Their backup was horrible by the old IT company, but this is how bad it can be. And there was only one computer running Windows 10 in the whole network over there. That was the weakest link, and that's how the hackers got in. You're going to have some cyber insurance reasons. They might deny you, and they might take your money and accept your policy as active. But when you are about to file a claim, they will tell you, sorry, on page 300, we stated specifically you have to have all the programs up to date and the latest version and no end-of-life software, etc. The checklist I want to summarize for you here real quick is pretty simple. Make sure you take an inventory of your devices. You want to confirm that Windows 11 is ready for those devices. Back up your data and test the backup, test the applications, plan the rollout, train the users, retire Windows 10 safely. Don't just leave old computers sitting in the closet. Data is on them. Make sure you get rid of that. Some key takeaways over here. Just remember, we are a week away from Windows 10 end of life. The day after is when you're going to start hearing about breaches and hacks. Don't be that statistic. It is a very high risk when your system, the operating system, is unsupported. This is cybersecurity risk for unsupported operating system for many years already, and you should have enough time still to make some changes. You want to plan early to avoid surprises. We're kind of too late for the planning portion of it. Now it's execution time. Let's do that as soon as possible. Reach out to your MSP and partner with one if you don't have that relationship with somebody. Some of the final thoughts are here, and I will share with you some of the references and resources here, but I do want to mention to you that one of the things that we always have people take advantage of, if you haven't yet, have somebody look at your incident response plan and review it and give you a professional piece of advice. go ahead and visit that URL or scan this QR code. We will be more than happy to review that for you at no cost. There's a lot of benefits that small and mid-sized businesses can benefit from it if they don't have a security information officer in-house that is in charge of that. And we also want to offer you a complimentary domain/email security assessment. We check the domain name in the dark web. We're going to figure out if you were exposed and check some of the email connectivity, DMARC, DKIM assessments, etc. We don't charge anything for that. We want to help you stay secured. And another thing is some checklists. We have quite a few checklists for this specific discussion, this specific topic, as well as many others. So if you go to galloptechgroup.com/checklist, you'll be able to request all of those for free. We're here to help you. And I also posted a hacking demo that we did showing how from a simple Word document that was opened, a hacker can easily access everything on the computer, change the background, get a copy of all the data, change the password for the user. Everything that needs to be done that they want to do can be done by opening a Word document only. And in the last 4 minutes, I'm going to do nothing besides leave you with my offer to chat with you. If you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, this is my link to my online calendar, and you can reach out. Follow us on Facebook if you go to this link, Facebook, LinkedIn. I think we also have a TikTok account, and definitely other social medias. We have a lot of content we put up there, invitations for events and webinars, etc. And going back to your topic over here of Windows 10 security update, end of life, Windows 10 Pro support, end of life, and Windows 10 risks when it comes to cybersecurity for small, medium-sized businesses and everybody else. We are here to help. Please reach out. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed and learned something. And if not, reach out, let me know why. Have a good day.